A blind knight that uses echolocation, viewing the dark, treacherous world through sound. Trapped in a dungeon keep, endangered by combatants, where hazards lurk around every corner. Make sound to have vision, or don't and be stealthy. Avoid impaling threats throughout the dungeon to escape. Engage with other prisoners.
Rogue Knight I've been hearing about. Could you find the key and unlock my cell?
Free them to fight back with more allies.
Let's take this guy.
The dungeon labyrinth has many paths and even more traps. Struggle through the darkness to find your freedom.
Well, hello again, everyone. I'm Gary Gotzo, the voice of the FIS, and welcome to P1's broadcasting coverage of Round 8 of Season 7 of the Formula Indy Series as we come to you today from SACHSENRING for the first ever race here in channel history that we've ever been here. And not a lot of people have raced here, period. This is a brand new track for the most part on the service, and we're watching probably one of the first ever or one of the few ever Indy cars to ever be on this track on the service. So stay tuned. This could be a fun one, but we are here for the Tammie Mathis Memorial Grand Prix. There you see the track conditions, 112 degrees, track temperature 83 degrees on the ambient. Turning it over to Stevie Larkamp, who's here in the booth with me. Stevie, it's a short course, 2.26 miles. Twisty, turny. I can't tell you, these guys might not be on 100% throttle an awful lot around here.
I would definitely not be surprised, especially in the first sector of this track. If you look at a map of this place, the opening sector is incredibly twisty. Lots of up and down the hills and a lot of tight corners. But then you get to the second half of the track where it's basically flat out and two fast left-handers. Even the last corner, which is very tricky on exit from what I've seen of so many drivers losing it over there.
Yeah.
It's definitely a fast second half of the course here. And that's an interesting dichotomy. You really got to be really got to be on your point for the slow section, and you really got to be precise for the second half. And it's definitely looking to be a fun challenge for these guys. Like this place, most people associate this place with motorcycle racing, especially in the MotoGP series. But we also, of course, have open wheelers here. Formula 3 has been the fastest category that has raced at the SACHSENRING in its current configuration. This track actually goes all the way back to 1927, I'll note. But that was a road circuit, like a proper running on the road sort of configuration. Kind of like the old Spa-Francorchamps in a way. That's definitely not the case now. But this place nowadays has a very interesting dichotomy here, and I think a lot of these guys are relishing the chance. It's also going to make passing a very interesting endeavor throughout, I think.
And there is the map. It is a very, at least the twisty, turny first and second sectors are pretty compact, and then when the third sector really kind of opens up to give them a little bit of a little room to stretch the legs, so to speak. But there it is, the track in the lower right corner of your screen. Originally I had it superimposed over the weather, but I apologize about that. But gave everyone a chance to see the weather clearly. Now we got the track map up clearly. 4 minutes left to go here in qualifying. And let's get in the point situation because a lot has changed since we looked at the points last. Here is your overall point situation. Caleb Bency up 30 points now on Titus Sherlock, who is second in the standings. Then Gavin Sanders in third. Tanner DeFavis in fourth. J.J. Wang in fifth. a very distant fifth. In fact, really, the first two spots are the closest. I guess they're going to be in the most contention for probably the win for the championship for the remainder of this season. I could be wrong. Gavin could probably claw his way back into this, but we shall see. It really needs to start here at the campaign right here at this racetrack right now for him to really get back into this. He is about 50 points behind Caleb, which is about a full race in terms of making up the gap. But Tanner is kind of sitting in a zone kind of by himself pretty comfortably. He's got 25 plus to get up to Sanders, and he has another 34, 35 plus over JJ. So he's sitting pretty comfortable there. All he really needs to do is just kind of do consistent races for the rest of the season. He probably has fourth spot locked up, but there's still a lot of racing to go. But the battle really is going to be for fifth here. Wang, Kidda, Spath. They're all within 10 points of one another. Tommy Raval, your lead amateur. We'll see the amateur standings here in just a second. He's at 8th. Schlosser and James Watson are tied for 9th and 10th. And the Schlosser coming off that podium finish last week, looking to extend that momentum here on the road course in Germany. Those are your driver's points. Here are your amateur points. Tommy Raval is your leader. Kyle Allen is second. But it then really falls off after that, and that really tells me that the amateur guys either had a lot of bad luck or they're not making all their races. So we are going to see here as we get into the second half of the season, the battle for third really heat up. But right now I think the battle for first and second, unless they miss any races, is pretty much going to be like this for the remainder of the season. There you see Raval, Allen, Rutherford, Claiborne, Herman, Rutherford, Miglin, Cook, Ogden, and Dubois. Then in the team championship, it is Stowe Maroon who has stormed to the top now over Eclipse Competition and Eclipse Blue. Eclipse Blue and Competition will be fighting each other probably for the remainder of this season. There's only 20 points separating those two. Dynasty is in 4th. Vision 1 5th. PBR, TWR Gold, Olaf Gemini, TWR SJ, and Aerokinetic rounds out your top 10. That is your points. We got plenty of time left here in qualifying as Sherlock provisionally on the pole. Benzie second, DeFavis third, Spath in 4th. So more of kind of the same teams we always see at the top here lately. It's a lot of Stowe Maroon and a lot of Eclipse Competition up at the top of the standings.
Yeah, and these two teams really have shown to be the power of the series so far. I was keeping an eye on Tanner DeFavis, who was going out for one last run of it, but something didn't quite go right for him. He has just reset the car, so he is third provisionally at the moment. Most of the drivers have completed their runs, and it's looking to be the overwhelming majority of them have finished. So unless Zach Fulm and Gabe Ogden can go out there and blast their way up to the top of the boards, those top of the boards are looking pretty set between Stowe Maroon and Eclipse. Sherlock, after a uncharacteristically, and I say that because he has been utterly fast this whole season, but Milwaukee last time out was a bit of a struggle. Finished in the top 10, but lost out on the points lead gap to Caleb Benzie. But both from that and from missing the last time out at the previous time out at Sebring. But Sherlock back on the pole, and he's going to be alongside Benzie. So this championship fight is going to be starting up front. And as we get to the warm-up.
Yeah, we are getting to the warm-up, and real quick, just want to remind everybody of the schedule situation. We are at round 8, so we are in the second half of the season. Right there, the schedule says we're doing 55. We're actually doing 54 laps tonight in honor of Jeff Mathis, who's one of the league admins. His father, who that was his car number when he drove and was a champion in the SCCA back in 2007, I believe. Of course, the race is in honor of his mother, Tammie. But that is the schedule. Then we take a week off, and then we're going to go to Spa on the bike course. Which should be interesting. There's not much difference between the bike course and the full Grand Prix course, but we will be probably one of the few ever IndyCar races to ever race on the bike course on the service, so that's going to be interesting to check out. Then VIR, then Nashville, and then we're going to wrap up at Road Atlanta. Shall we get into tonight's starting lineup?
Indeed we shall, and on the pole tonight here in Saxony, Titus Sherlock in the 311, very quick once more. Alongside him, and not only, get this, 5/1000ths of a second, Caleb Bensi. These two are pretty much neck and neck tonight. And Tanner DeFavis will start off third in the number 9. Another good effort for him. Alongside him, Logan Spath, Caleb Bensi's teammate. So these teams looking to be the powerhouses once again. Griffin Yellen will start off 5th in the 7. Alongside him is the 77, Hunter Engrav, with another great qualifying run. Gavin Sanders, 2nd the last 2 races, no less. He's going to start off tonight 7th, and he's going to be alongside Kevin Bonomi, a very good qualifying effort for the 75 in 8th. Nate Seeker, former series champion, of course, is going to start 9th place in the 2. And alongside him is the 222. Kostek Solwich rounds out your top 10 after a great run last time out at Milwaukee. Row 6, Kyle Mundell and Joey Selmitz. Row 7, Matt Johnston and Takeshi Kita. Row 8, Sebastian Gianni and Kyle Allen. Row number 9, JJ Wang and Michael Costello, off from a great run in the Indy Pro Series in the real world at St. Petersburg, no less. He'll start off in 18th. Tommy Roval and Matt Schlosser will make up row number 10. Dakota DeMade and Nick Goyette in row 11. Row 12 is going to be Cody Claiborne and Brian Labarge. Row 13, James Watson and Dan Miglin. And finally, row 14, the only 2 drivers to not post a qualifying time, Zach Fahm and Gabe Ogden. So, 28 cars making the start here in beautiful Saxony tonight on a very tricky course, even for the motorcycle racers. And it's going to be quite a show, I think, with 28 Indy cars going faster than the official rate, than any track record that has ever been set here. Qualifying pole time, I'll note, is a 1:05.7 for Titus Sherlock. The fastest race lap, I'll note, is 1:13.7 around here. It was set by Frederick Versvish in an F3 car in 2008. So that was the old school F3 cars that were really quick by F3 standards.
A lot of debris on the racetrack I've been noticing through practice and qualifying, so that might be an issue in some of these corners.
A lot of gravel traps especially. Yeah, it's kind of a Brands Hatch kind of a track in some regards here. In fact, I actually see on the front straightaway, looking at Titus Sherlock, he didn't even go off the track and picked up a ton of gravel. Not even marbles. It was just gravel that was just coming off the track there from that final corner. So that's definitely going to be an interesting consideration here, especially since that final corner seems to be really tricky.
It is very dirty out there. You can see all the way around. This is a 2.26 mile, 13-turn road course. We're doing 54 laps tonight in honor of Jeff Mathis' father. 122.04 race miles. No fast repairs, unlimited tires, but they are required to make a compound change. We will keep you abreast of that during the race through our timing and scoring overlay. And kind of a weird pit road speed limit here, 31 miles an hour.
Indeed, and since, of course, we are in Germany, I must convert that to metric for that to make any sort of sense.
Probably.
So that is 50 kilometers an hour. So 50 kph, 31.
That makes sense. If you enjoy the coverage of the Formula Indy Series right here on P1 and to respect the stream, please do us a solid. Make sure you support us by subscribing. Half of you out there are not subscribers according to our analytics. Let's change that today. Just go ahead and hit the red button, turn it gray for us, would you? It's free. It won't cost you a cent, and it'll help out the channel a ton. Subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss out on future races. And while you're at it, don't forget to hit the thumbs up, smash that for us, and that always helps the algorithm point other IndyCar fans this direction to see this race. Thanks for joining us. We're going to be lining up here very shortly. Right now we are. And we are going to go racing here momentarily.
Pole sitter is already on there. Most drivers coming in pretty quick this time around. Everyone's seeming pretty confident. 54 laps around the SACHSENRIng. A challenging track, new to IndyCar competition for so many drivers. But these drivers are some of the best in the business. I think they're really relishing the chance to show this place what an IndyCar is capable of around here. as we wait. Standing start, of course. Green flag in the air. Barely any revs I heard. But already looking at Hunter Engraf with a monster launch there.
Ooh.
Goes all the way up, trying to put some pressure on here. But Sherlock leads the way into turn one. Betsy trying to take it around the outside. Not quite enough. Tanner DeFavis, meanwhile, trying to squeeze in next to him. Not quite yet. They gotta get himself into order here very quickly. Downhill. Through this slow right-hander, then back up the hill once more.
Mundell missing front wing.
Oh, already one-wing warrior
Seifker
here.
off at the top of the hill. Ogden also off. Matt
One wing is
Johnston
gone
is
on
in the
Nate
pits.
Already a bit of chaos so far. But the leaders, most of the leaders seem to have got away with it. Oh, someone off back there, trying to see who that was. I believe
Bonomi.
that... Yeah, Bonomi off, and I think also Logan Spath was having a bit of a moment there as well, as Hunter Engraf making some moves. He's all the way up into the top 5 so far. But as we complete the first lap, pretty quick laps around here. Titus Sherlock, look at the debris already. Look at all the gravel that's already been picked up. But Sherlock leads the way on lap 1. DeFavis diving it down on the inside and tries to make the move. He does.
Oh, Hunter
Engraf. Engraf is off in turn 1, hard into the wall.
Oh.
Logan Spath was also gone too. What has happened here? Looks to me, like Logan Spath just missed his brake marker there, dives it to the inside of Engraf and clips him. And Engraf gets put in the wall.
Oh, no.
Once again, like Hunter Engraf with, if he didn't have bad luck, he'd have no luck at all, as the old saying goes. Unbelievable.
And kind of a racing deal right there. A lot of stuff going on at turn 1. It's a very slow corner.
Indeed so. And unfortunately, Hunter, who was kind of the innocent victim of that one, got the worst of it. And he is out of the race. Oh, a big wreck back there. So who was that? Kyle Allen is one of them, and one of the Eclipse cars
Costello.
It's Michael Costello. And both of them, Costello particularly, has got a gone front wing, and Kyle Allen's left side pod is trashed. And almost some contact there with Dan Miglin as well. As Allen, more contact! Who was that? Gabe Ogden! Ogden slams into the back of Kyle Allen, goes airborne. Allen resets. Ogden probably going to be forced to.
Ogden's.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I think Allen just had a target on his car. It seemed like that entire lap because he went into the kitty litter earlier, and now he is. We're watching what happened with Ogden.
Oh my! That was just...
Okay, Allen went off, and then he came back on, and then right when he came back on, there was Ogden, and that hard hits everybody all the way around. It's unfortunate. So we got a number of cars already on pit road. I think we have a car coming off of pit road. That might be Costello.
Costello, looks like.
But
Costello
we have
in
Matt
front of his
Johnson now on
teammates
pit
here, no
road,
less.
Kyle Allen on pit road, Kyle Mundell on pit road, Nate Seifker on pit road, Gabe Ogden on pit road, Hunter Engraf is already done. And so the last car running in order is Sebastian Gianni. But wow, okay, so a pretty exciting start, only 4 laps in. And we started with 28, and now we're down to 22-ish cars on the racetrack. Your leader is Sherlock.
Yeah, I think we all knew this was going to be a challenge.
And Solwedge, yeah. And it's
this
a
track was going to be yeah, go ahead.
It's a whole bunch of Eclipse competition up at the front right now.
Oh, yeah, Eclipse has been, they've been strong all season long, 1-2 at the moment. DeFavis making an excellent start. And all 3 of the leaders I'll note, as well as Kyle Yellen back there in 4th place. So it's 1-2-4 for the Eclipse cars. But they all are running on the soft tires. And oh my goodness, look at all the gravel that's being picked up on those tires here. And this is just that's really going to lead to some grip troubles later on for these guys, I think, especially as the tires start to fade off. But I'm looking back further. In 5th place, Kostek Solwich making an excellent start, 10th to 5th so far. Great start by Kostek.
And but he's not the biggest gainer. The biggest gainer is Dakota DeMaid right there in 10th. He is up 11 spots. Goyette and Claiborne in the Fish car, they're both up 10 spots, along with the host with the most, Zach Flaum. He's up 10 spots as well with all of the first lap, second lap, third lap chaos. They've worked their way up in the order.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing. It hasn't been first lap chaos. It's been the first 4 laps of this race that have been chaotic in one form or another. And this track was always going to be a challenge, especially since a lot of these drivers, they may not have ever raced here before in anything, let alone an IndyCar. So these guys are, so it's definitely a learning curve here. It's always fun to come to a new track and learn things. And especially since you have people that can learn it quickly, people that may take some time to figure it out, some people that just don't figure it out. And it leads to some really interesting ways the order can be shaken up. And we're definitely seeing that firsthand tonight. But even then, the cream is certainly rising to the top with Sherlock, DeFavis, Bensi, and Griffin Yellen making a really good effort here. Griffin's always had pace, but has just not been having the fortune as well.
Matt Schlosser finished on the podium last week at Milwaukee. He had to make an early stop. He is down a lap. Might have been a partial tow there, but he is back in 20th now. Yeah,
started 20th, currently sitting there as it stands. And Schlosser, highs to highs, lowest to lows, it would seem. I'm not sure what happened to him, but definitely not the way he would have started. But we got quite a bit of this race to go, working lap number 5 here. And unfortunately, I don't quite have the fuel numbers mapped out of what we're expecting here tonight, but most of these races have been 2 stoppers. That's the main thing I'm going to be keeping eyes on here, is if the 2 stop is going to be the way to go, or if a 1 stopper can be had.
Well, if a 1 stopper could be had, unfortunately, that driver who has been experimenting the most with the 1 stops all season is already out. So we shall see. But at least 1 stop is guaranteed. Not alone just because they can't make it on fuel, is they got to change the tire compounds. And there you see the tire compounds on the timing and scoring tree. Your top 8 are on the alternate compound tires. Your first of the prime tires is 9th with J.J. Wang and 11th with Dakota DeMaid. They both have the prime tire. So that tire is a little bit harder, can go a little bit longer, has a more of an effective range than the alternate tire. Alternate tire, a little bit stickier, doesn't last as long, but has the ultimate lap in them. So we shall see how well these guys on the red tires are going to do before they need to get off them and get onto the prime tire, which is the white sidewall tire. 8 laps in the books, and it is top 3, Sherlock, DeFavis, and Bensi.
Yeah, and the 2 teammates here still pretty close, about 6/10 separating them. It's about 2 seconds between our leader and Caleb Bensi as it stands. So the pace is looking pretty strong for the Eclipse cars here tonight. They're running fairly even with each other, are the 2 leaders. In fact, DeFavis is the fastest of the 3 on that last lap. So could we see some intra-team play here between Sherlock and DeFavis? They obviously got to be playing it careful here, because not only are they competing for the championship, but they're fighting against Caleb Bensi first and foremost as teammates.
Yeah, and Caleb, all he needs to do is keep those guys immediately in front of him, and they are not really gaining on him.
Exactly, and with a 30-point gap that Bensi has coming into this race, he's got some leeway to work with here. Obviously, you can't go around wrecking the car for one race. A little bit of a slide there. I think I saw Bensi there to the last corner here. I saw that from a few drivers already so far, but you obviously can't be too relaxed about this championship situation, as we've all seen in any series, but Formula Indy as well. A championship can turn in a matter of seconds, and that's definitely the case here. You gotta be hitting the marks right. You gotta be consistent about it. And if there's definitely a driver I've been trusting on being consistent, it's Caleb Bensi.
Caleb, 2 wins in a row, last 2 races. And now is the career FIS leader in wins on ovals. He has 2. He's the leader of that category. We still have 1 more oval race to go later this season when we go to the concrete oval. at Nashville Super Speedway.
Yeah, concrete oval, which one? Ironically enough, both of those were owned by the same owner for a long time, both Dover and Nashville.
Next race for us is going to be at Spa in 2 weeks. We have been to Spa in the past, but those will be the first time on the bike course. It's a little bit different configuration. Overall, pretty much the same course, though.
Very much so. It's minor differences. I want to be absolutely certain about this, but I think on the bike course they put a chicane somewhere.
Yeah.
So I have to double check that, but the funny thing I find, especially with the race we're at tonight and the race we're at next time, is that these tracks kind of have a similar history. These are definitely these definitely have a long, storied history. The Sachsenring's first race was back in 1927. That was back like when the old school Spa-Francorchamps was. It was an actual road course. It was on public roads that were closed off, and you had insanely high speeds to go with it. Mostly, this track has seen motorcycle races. In fact, even when the Berlin Wall was still standing, you had MotoGP racing here with the East German Motorcycle Grand Prix from 1961 to 67 on that road course. That track actually closed in 1990, and this one was opened in its place in 1996, and it has been hosting open wheelers, GT cars, and the German Motorcycle Grand Prix ever since.
Yeah, Formula Indy Series visited Spa in Season 1. Gavin Sanders won that. And in Season 4, and a former winner, we have not seen him in a while, but Ricardo Escobar won that race back in Season 4, going back into 2022 and 2021 for both those races. So it's been a while on the calendar. Oh, Benzie getting really close to the dirt there.
Getting real comfy with that gravel trap, and I'm not sure if I like that very much. But that's definitely one of those tricky, fast left-handers that you see a few of around here. In fact, it kind of gives me an air of the backside of the course at Brands Hatch, actually, where you have a couple of fast right-handers where you are right on the razor's edge of clipping the grass at high speed. And if you make it through, you're going fast. If you go a little bit too wide, you're going spinning.
And let's go through the top 4 here. We've been watching Caleb the last couple laps. There is Griffin Yellen. His Caustic Soul Wedge is creeping a little bit closer into the picture. He's one of the closest battles on the racetrack right here. Also getting involved in the battle is Gavin Sanders. There is Gavin, the Canadian. He is getting closer to this battle. He did not have the start he wanted. He didn't have the qualifying he wanted. He is up one position on the start of this race. But he wants to probably jump some of these cars during the pit stops and see if he can move up a little bit further in the order to help keep pace with P1 and P2 in the championship, as they are directly in front of him.
Yeah, and Sanders up one spot. Oh, Caustic's off! Caustic's Soul Wedge goes wide! It's second to the last corner. Gathers it up, though. Only lost a spot to Gavin Sanders.
And that's what Gavin was waiting for. Mistakes.
Definitely. He was definitely waiting for that moment. And, in fact, it was a small one, too. He actually clipped the grass with his right front on entry into the corner, and that was all it took to lose the grip and go sliding into the kitty litter.
Into what they call the Omega curve right here, because if you look at it from the air, it looks like the Omega symbol.
Indeed, it does. That sort of downhill run there to turn 3. It's a interesting way of putting it, and I agree with it. It definitely looks like the Omega symbol. Very nice.
And now the wrestler in me wants to see a car go through there with only one wing, so I can say the one-wing angel is going through the Omega curve.
Yeah,
you might not know. You might not know that one, but that's Kenny Omega, one of the wrestlers. Is the name of his finishing move is the one-winged angel. Indeed.
Yeah, one for the wrestling fans for sure.
Yeah, this is
And I
in
think
lieu
it's
of me
how
not
Griffin
knowing.
yelled.
This is in lieu of me not knowing anything IndyCar related from this racetrack because they've never been here.
Nope, and of course, I think the only time I could think of when American Open Wheel Racing came to Germany was when CART came here to the shoot. Which I was about to say Oschersleben, but it's definitely not Oschersleben.
No, it's the Euro Speedway, right?
Lausitz, Euro
Yeah.
Speedway Lausitz. Yeah, and of course that was the quite infamous track in the annals of American Open Wheel history, where Alex Zanardi lost his legs in a horrific accident
On the weekend
And-
after 9/11, no less.
Indeed, it just
I remember that weekend. Yes, he was
Oh,
on
just-
his comeback trail after kind of tanking a little bit in Formula One after leaving on a high note from CART. Went to Formula One, didn't do so hot in Formula One, mainly because the equipment that he had was kind of on its.
Griffin yelling
yeah.
going way wide.
The
there,
equipment
and
wasn't as good
Sanders-
as it used to be, and he struggled over there. Came back to CART. I think he was racing for Tasman or Horn. And was really on his comeback trail, was struggling for most of the season, but that one race, he really put everything together and was doing really, really good until the incident where he came off of pit road and just kind of lost it and then scooted up into the line of traffic and literally got his car sawed in half.
Yep, and it led to his legs getting amputated as well.
Yep.
And that was
And a doctor
and
on
it's been
scene there had to save his life with the tourniquet and everything.
incredible. And not only did he survive from that, he also was racing again. He raced with a special rig.
But you can definitely put Alex Zanardi on the list of the all-time greats of IndyCar history who never competed in an Indy 500. Hard to believe that Zanardi never, and we can start taking some other names, mainly because of the split era. Greg Moore, another one of those drivers, never competed in the Indy 500. There's a small list of really the greats in CART that just never got a chance to because of that split.
Yeah, and that really is a shame, because seeing people like Greg Moore and Alex Zanardi like inevitably compete for wins in the 500, because they have really strong teams and they were really strong drivers. Like, that would have been fantastic to see going into the 2000s, but it was something we never got the chance to.
And, I mean, on top of that, Greg Moore was destined for Team Penske. And
He was.
That seat basically won 3 Indy 500s.
Yep,
because that later
seat-
that became Helio Castroneves' seat then. And then
did.
who
It
knows? I
became
mean,
Helio's.
he could have gone on to be the next 4-time winner instead of Helio.
Probably could have been. And like, I know some people, like, pretty much everyone I talk to loves Helio Castroneves, and like we were so happy when he got his 4th win back in 2021. But just that alternate history factor. What if it was Greg Moore?
Going back to 10th, 11th spot, 11th and 12th. That Dakota DeMaid and Joey Silments, the artist. 2 artists of different types. Got the graphic artist, the video game creator, Dakota DeMaid, Joey Silments. He'll draw you anything you want to, get him on a commission. He'll draw you a sketch or a full-size drawing and painting of your favorite, car, race car, livery, driver, you name it. Check him out. He's sponsored some races before. He's having a very good race right now. He is in 12th, chasing down Dakota right now in 11th. Just behind Joey is Nick Goyette. Nick is up 9 spots to 13th right now. Car is hitting pit road right now. Who is that? That is Brian LaBarge.
LaBarge coming in. I'm presuming this is a scheduled stop unless something has happened to him. Up on the jacks, switching to red tires, so this looks to be a scheduled stop for Brian LaBarge.
Oh, good.
Started
angle
this
on
race
pit
on
road.
the hards, interestingly enough.
There you go. Yeah, here's one of the prime tire gamblers.
And looks to be one of the first to get off of them. And one of the drivers in that case I'm keeping an eye on for sure is Dakota DeMade in that case, because he's obviously started this race on the hard compound tire. He's actually the lead driver to do so.
Yeah, and JJ Wang also started, and he must have had an incident. He's actually already come to pit road. He is off the prime tire onto the alternate, so he made a pit stop. So I don't want to say anything. He just actually made his stop a lap ago, so that's why he's dropped out of the order here. So scheduled stop for JJ.
Yeah, we're already seeing the start of scheduled pit stops here on between laps 16, 17, 18 range. So this is going to be pretty interesting, and I imagine it's going to be a tires. Reason for it is because of tires, and we're also getting some cloud cover over the track right now, and cloud cover does tend to increase the grip here. So a lot of drivers probably weigh in, should I stay out with the current tires I've got? Particularly the red tire runners, your Titus Sherlocks. And by the way, Titus Sherlock has pulled away from Tanner DeFavis about 3 seconds. Yep. He is putting in some excellent pace right now.
Man has a lap car in between him and his teammate in second spot. There you see the weather conditions with the sun taking a bit of a break right now. 78 degrees ambient, 98 degrees on the track temperature. Never mind the no name there in the graphic. This is just a glitch from this track. There's a handful of tracks on this surface that, for whatever reason, doesn't report that to the weather widget inside of our overlay. Oh, someone just blinked out. That was Sherlock. He just blinked out. He's back.
Oh,
DeFavis goes off. Caleb Benzie goes to the inside of DeFavis, and he's going to get the spot.
Oh, and Caleb Benzie capitalizes on it brilliantly, and looking to see what happened with Tanner DeFavis.
He's going to go to the inside, going in the one. They're side by side.
And, locks up, and Benzie cuts right by him, and Sanders is out. Sanders has had a connection failure, but this battle here for second has gotten spicy. Caleb Benzie back up in the second. DeFavis kind of overcooked it in turn one.
We've got a DC with one of our points leaders in third. He is out. Whether or not he will return remains to be seen. But now we move Benzie up to second. Sherlock the leader. DeFavis having a moment on one of the final sets of corners.
DeFavis.
Yes.
Did you see that? Getting those right sides on the gravel. Thing almost got lost.
He is pushing. I think it was right around 12 or so he got off, and then he had to lift just a little bit, and that was just enough for Caleb to get a run right here. It was right in this portion of the racetrack last time by.
Yeah, and I saw him struggle a little bit through that second to last corner there. Ran a little bit wider than he wanted to, and just causing that little bit of speed too. But Caleb is really taking advantage of all of this. He's opened up about a 1.5 second gap back to Tanner DeFavis.
And Tanner threw a little bit of a block on him to try to protect that position, and wisely did not continue to move across the racetrack because Caleb was there. And but it was a close moment. So we'll see how this battle unfolds, as we're expecting first stops to occur for any one of these leaders anytime soon. If they can get to 25 laps, we're at 21 now. If they get to 25, they're still going to need another stop to get home, probably a splashed in. But if they can get more to 26, 27, then we're looking at just one stop. So we'll see how these drivers are going to gamble now.
Exactly, and this is going to lead some pretty interesting strategy calls, I would think. I'm curious to see what these guys have got cooked up, especially the lead contenders, to get a leg up on each other here. About to start starting lap 23.
Davis on pit road. Tanner DeFavis making a scheduled stop at 22 of 54, so he's going to come probably pit with about 10 to go and go with a light tank and red tires and throw out some Red Bull laps out there and see what he could do in the late stages. But he is going to the prime tire right now, as we thought he would.
Yeah, indeed, and this could well be... It could well be that they short run these hard tires and go back to the softs as soon as they get the opportunity to. I wouldn't be surprised if someone like DeFavis will want to do that, especially for the, as you mentioned, the Red Bull laps at the end of the race. they're definitely going to be trying to maximize pace as the race winds down.
This track is so compact, the drone cam can pretty much watch them at every single angle around this entire track. A lot of elevation changes here. Looks like a fun course to drive, but it looks very tight, and it looks like a lot of throttle control is the plan of the day for a lot of these drivers because you're not on 100% throttle very much around here.
Absolutely, especially early on in the lap, and even more so on the faster sections of the course. You never would guess, especially with the fast left-hand second to last corner. There is a flat-out right-hander leading onto that long back straightaway before that fast left, and then a slower uphill left-hander. You gotta be very careful with your throttle control, not least because of the really off-camber nature of it, but also the gravel. That gravel has been really getting all over the place, going all over the tires, and it can cause havoc, as we saw a few times tonight.
Battle back for 16th between Matt Schlosser and James Watson. Just caught the end of that pass. Those guys are one lap down. Last car on the lead lap is J.J. Wang in 14th. Brian Labarge in the Lego car. He is 15th. The first car one lap down.
Schlosser trying to make up for a rough start so far after a great run last time out at Milwaukee. And so far, decent start to it. Gotten around James Watson so far for 16th. Of course, we're in the middle of pit stop cycles, so a lot of these positions, I'll note, are subject to change. And one that's looking to be closer subject to change, but due to on-track action, I'm looking at this battle for third. Griffin Yellen and Kostek Solwich getting pretty close to each other. Kostek is on the charge again.
I'm keeping the camera on Titus. I'm expecting him to come to pit road about any time. Nice angle right there.
Yeah, and one way I'm definitely not surprised that Kostek's doing as good as he is. The last name kind of gives it away, I imagine, because Kostek's from Poland, isn't he?
Definitely Eastern European.
Yeah, and
the Polak in me says that might be Polish, yes.
Yeah, it definitely looks to be Polish, and of course, we're in East Germany, so it's in a sense a home race for Kostek Solwich, no matter how you slice it, as he gets down on the pit road.
Yep.
For his scheduled stop.
And Titus on pit road. I was expecting him to come down pit road anytime. There he is hitting his marks, going up on the jacks. We'll see what he goes to. Okay, prime tires.
Tire.
You see the red sidewalls go away, down, waiting for the fuel, waiting for the fuel, waiting for the fuel, down and away and off.
Yep, Titus Sherlock, our leader from the drop of the green,
now
relinquishes it to Caleb Pensy.
Now he has gone 25 laps. Can he save enough on the second stint to make it one stop?
That's a good question. I wish I had some fuel calculations here that we may have pilfered off another driver, but like that's going to be a good question. I'm keeping an eye on Bensy naturally. Bensy's still out there. Let's see if he comes in this time around. Not yet. He's staying out for one more, so that's at least 26 laps he's going to be running. 54-lap race. So the halfway mark is fast approaching.
Yeah, 27.
So it could be possible.
27.
Lap 27. If he could go an extra 2 laps at this stage, it's definitely possible.
The shrinking of the race by 1 lap might actually be kind of critical now.
It could be. It could be the margin you needed here to make it on one stop. And I have no doubt that if Kyle Mundell hadn't been wrecked out early on in this race, he would be trying the exact same thing.
He'd be on the one-stop strategy for sure.
Probably. Very fast section here. Like a little bit of a feather through that left-hander, then flat out to the right on Caleb Bensy. And then onto the brakes, third gear. And then back down to second gear for this left-hand hairpin up the hill. Pretty quick, though, regardless.
And staying on the track again for another lap.
Another lap, so Bensy seems to be going for it.
And I
Sensing
think
an opportunity to make it a
think his,
one-stop.
I think his teammate Logan Spath is doing the same thing. He's going for the one-stopper. I think Kidda is doing the same thing, is going for the one-stopper. Also
and
involved.
Griffin Yellen also came in just on this last lap.
Oh, and here's Sherlock getting around Kidda, who went a little wide there, going out of 12.
Yellen
Now
under pressure
Kidda
from
comes to pit
Kostek
road.
Solwich, who dives it down to the inside and gets the spot. So Kostek really making inroads at what's effectively the home race for our friend from the Central European Club.
Also looks
Up
like
into sixth place as it stands.
Also looks like Cody, Claiborne, Clements, Goyette, and DeMade. We know they all kind of loosely work with one another as well. They're on the one-stop strategy as well. They have not come to pit road.
Looks to me, yeah.
So we got a number of DeMade on pit road right now.
Okay.
But we see a number of drivers that are getting to that 27 lap, 28 lap, and Caleb going one more lap.
One more. He's still going to lap 28 here. This is really going to be interesting, I think. So Bensi seems to be pretty confident in that fuel number, making it on one stop. And I'd imagine, especially with a lot of the fast corners here and a lot of opportunities for lift and coast, no doubt, this is definitely one of those tracks that I think Caleb could definitely very much save a lot of fuel on. Maybe not so much to this fast sweeping section, but when you get to the end of the backstretch and you start going on the brakes, you lift a little bit and you just let it coast a little bit before going on the brakes.
Logan Spath on pit road, making his scheduled stop. So he stopped at 28.
Yep, Spath back out once more. And we're keeping an eye on Bensi.
There he
now
is.
he comes in.
Oh, look how hard it is to get on pit road here.
That is really tricky. It really shows that this track is more for the kinds of categories that don't normally run regular pit stops in the middle of the race. Your Formula 3s and your MotoGPs. IndyCar, very tricky to get down here on the pit road.
And there he is, one of his associated teammates from one of the Stowe teams. There's Clements coming on by, I believe.
Switching to the hard tire naturally. He has to do that, of course.
Down and
And
away.
down he goes.
Final stop, I think. I think that's his final stop. He's done.
I think it is.
And even with that, he didn't even need a full tank of fuel.
Yep, and Tanner DeFavis has gotten him back around Bensi, but this is all part of the plan, it would seem, for Caleb Bensi so far, because Sherlock and DeFavis, they came in quite a bit earlier. They came in on end of lap 24 for Titus, and
22 for Tanner, or at least that's what I showed.
22 for Tanner, yeah.
So Tanner is going to have to stop again right around 44 with 10 to go, or there's no way he could save 10 laps of fuel. I take that back. He can save 10 laps of fuel, just won't be competitive.
Exactly, and yeah, that's going to be, this is exactly going to be what Bensi's going to be banking on here at this stage. I'm not sure if they were expecting it to be as easy to save fuel as it was here, but the Eclipse cars may well be outplayed by Team Stowe Maroon.
All right, before we reset the field, once again, if you're just joining us, this is coverage of the Formula Indy Series coming to you from SACHSENRING for the Tammie Mathis Memorial Grand Prix, where we completed 30 of 54 laps. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications. So let's get into a bit of a reset here. Titus Sherlock has picked back up the lead after the pit cycle. Behind him is Tanner DeFavis. Both those guys stopped at lap 25 and 22, respectively. Can Sherlock possibly save that fuel? He's going to be the one that's going to try it. He's going to be closest, otherwise he needs to do a splash. Tanner, more than likely, is going to have to make a stop here towards the end. But he'll throw on the red tires, have light tanks, and will be extremely fast in the closing stages. Caleb Bensi is third. Kostek Solwich. Now, there's somebody I want to talk about real quick. He's worked his way up to fourth. he is still on the alternate tire. So he went alternate, I believe, in his first 2 stints. So his last stop is going to have to be a prime tire. So we'll be watching him to see if he switches to that prime tire. Griffin Yellen is in 5th. Logan Spath is in 6th. J.J. Wang now 7th. Kidda 8th. Bonimi 9th. And Labarge in 10th. There you see all your tire compounds. Sherlock, DeFavis, and Bensi all on the primes. Solwich on the alts. Yellen and Spath on the primes. Wang, Kidda, Bonimi, Labarge, all on the primes. Now, let's give you an update on the push-to-pass situation. Here is the push-to-pass situation. We go back to a close battle here between Kidda and J.J. Wang. Push-to-pass, 152 seconds for Sherlock, 120 for DeFavis, 196 for Bensi. And really, that makes sense because he could not afford to use any of it since he's on the one stopper. He might be able to use some of it in the second stint because he pitted well past the halfway point. He should have 2 laps in his back pocket, so we'll see if he goes to that button a little bit. Solwich has not touched the button yet. Yellen has not touched the button yet. Spath 182, Wang 127, Kidda 148, Bonimi 200, and Labarge at 200. They have yet to touch the button.
Yeah, and I was just looking at DeFavis and Bensi get around Nick Goyette, who had a moment there in the last corner. Kind of a hair-raising moment for both of them. Both of them make it through pretty well, but this whole fuel strategy game here between the 2 powerhouse teams of the series, Stowe Maroon and Eclipse.
Well, and
really turning interesting.
They have reached Joey Solmanson. He's part of that Stowe squad. Is he going to make things a little difficult for Tanner?
I wouldn't put it past them for sure. Especially with Caleb Bensi just sitting there waiting for any sort of opportunity, not only to get by DeFavis on fuel strategy, but to get by on track even before that. Just hold them up a little bit longer just so I could get up there. Be annoying. Be absolutely annoying.
He almost into the back of him. He really dove in there hard right in the 13, and now he's under hard acceleration. He wants to get by. And if he could extend a certain finger out the cockpit in this video game, I think he probably would have engaged that button. I don't think he was very happy about that, but I don't really think Joey did anything wrong necessarily. He just didn't get out of the way as fast as possibly Tanner wanted.
Tanner getting real cozy with that curbing up there down through the Omega, and like that caused him to squirm a little bit here. So DeFavis got a little bit seeing red after that situation. Hopefully, for his sake, he can get it a little bit calmed down here because he still has the position. It's a bit closer now than it was before after that exchange. But Tanner DeFavis still trying to hold back Caleb Bensi, not least for his teammate, Titus Sherlock, to run away with the field and build up that gap.
Yeah, he needs to build up a data.
He could pit again.
He needs to build up. He needs to build up a delta because it looks like he's using the button right now. So that tells me that he can't make it to the end. He's going to have to stop again because if he could make it to the end, he'd be saving right now.
Little bit of a kick at the tail there for Tanner DeFavis in the final corner. That's just showing how hard he's driving to keep Sherlock at bay. And with DeFavis' situation fuel-wise, he definitely has every incentive to go for it because he's got to pit again. And now they're catching up to some lap traffic. I see Dakota DeMade and the Fish car, Cody Claiborne.
And again, those are guys that all kind of work together a little bit. And I don't see them. And first of all, they are on the tail end. Actually, though, they are one lap down. Excuse me. So they are but they're battling for position. So they're necessarily not going to necessarily move over because Cody and Dakota. That's a battle for 12. And we're still at the point of the race that there are a couple of drivers ahead of them that they make one bad move. They're fighting for a top 10. So they're not necessarily going to move over right now.
Exactly.
Well, there goes Dakota though. He moved over.
DeMade. Yeah,
but he stayed over for Caleb.
Yeah. So that's one of them dealt with. It gives a gap to Cody Claiborne, but the Fish car is gonna be seeing that blue and black number 9 catching back up to him. And also his good friend Caleb Benty in the 21. So you gotta play it careful here. But this early section of the course is very difficult to overtake, let alone let people by. And he lets DeFabus go. But through this fast section here, fast left, flat out right, Claiborne probably going to let him go here. Yes, he does. The gap's still pretty even between DeFabus and Bency, but they were catching up to Titus Sherlock on that last lap. Sherlock had some traffic to deal with in his own right.
Yeah, we'll go up to Sherlock real quick. He is... Cody noses to the inside wall.
Oh, no.
Coming off of corner 13.
Yeah, and that final corner there, just lost the rear and on acceleration, and bam, right into the concrete barrier, and that is day done for the Fish car. Very unfortunate. He had a good run going.
And there goes our leader around P10, Brian Labarge. So he is now lapped up to the 10th spot. Last car on the lead lap is Bonimi in 9th spot. There he is.
Meanwhile, more lap traffic that the battle for second is having to negotiate around here. They just got around James Watson. And next up in line is trying to see.
That's going to be Tommy Raval. That's your amateur leader right now.
That's 11th place. They're working their way around there as DeFabus goes to the inside and gets the pass done.
Ooh, power slides it through the corner.
Yeah, you saw the sawing of the hands there for Tanner DeFabus. Very quick hands, naturally coming from a driver who races race cars in real life. He races in the Road to Indy, of course. And in fact, they just had their opener at St. Petersburg this past weekend. And might as well give a shout out to them. Michael Costello got a podium. Got third place in the first race at St. Pete. Unfortunately, DNF'd in the second one. Tanner DeFabus was in, having a look here. Yeah, Tanner DeFabus was 10th in the first race, 7th in the second race. And Titus Sherlock, our championship leader, our championship contender, ironically had the worst of all. DNF'd in the first race, 15th in the second one, but hey.
But he had the race highlight, though. He ended up on his lid at the end of the runway there at St. Petersburg Airport. So, if he makes the podium, I'm sure we'll ask him what the condition of the tarmac there is. But we're watching this battle for second continue to rage on between DeFabus and Bency. I think DeFabus was on the push to pass that time. Bency is in third. Sherlock is now raced out to an 8-second lead. Now, is 8 second enough for him to come to pit road and get all the service he needs and then leave pit road as a leader? No. Unfortunately, the delta is more along the lines of 32 to 33 seconds on pit road. It'd be a short stop in the box, but still, he's probably still looking at somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 seconds on pit road, and that's not going to be enough. He needs to get another 20 seconds on this delta over the course of the next 10 laps or so, and I don't know if that's really going to be possible. We'll see as this stint continues on.
And DeFabus once again got real cozy with a gravel trap and the that fast double left-hander there. Got a little bit twitchy as well, so DeFabus is pulling away at the moment from Bency, but Bency, of course, has to drive to a fuel number naturally. DeFabus doesn't have to worry about that. He can just go for it. It's going to cost him long-term here because Bency's playing the fuel mileage game.
And Logan Spath is in that same neighborhood, and if Logan continues on the one-stopper, and he's on the button now, so apparently he thinks he's good to go to the end, at least enough to tap the button down the front straight. He should get by Yellen and should get by Solwedge, so he might actually move up at least 2 positions by doing the one-stopper. So not too bad. We'll see how these strategies shape out as we get closer to the end of this race and further into this run. Another thing that if this was real IndyCar racing, we'd always have the specter of full course cautions hanging over us. Of course, this is in the sim. We're not necessarily going to have that unless the admins throw a full course caution. And you only see that in very rare cases. We have seen full course cautions in FIS races before, but nothing this season. So if you're probably thinking, oh, well, we're probably en route to a full course caution someplace. No, we're not. Not really. Not unless there's like a big hang up somewhere on the course where many cars are involved. We're probably looking at finishing this race under green. So that's why these strategies are in play right now.
Exactly. That's definitely a big consideration, especially in real life IndyCar racing. You definitely have a full course caution. Not like regularly speaking, maybe like one, maybe two a race on a road course, but you definitely have that thing lingering in the back of your mind. It's kind of an F1 situation in a lot of cases where where in a lot of cases you don't expect a safety car, but it can happen. And it's a lot rarer in the sim, of course, because on road courses, the sim is not inclined to throw full course cautions because it's always a lot easier to clear up there. That's the way iRacing has been since 2008, and it hasn't changed. And in a league such as this, the admins can throw it, but only very selectively.
Yeah, JJ Wang makes his final stop. He is rejoining.
Sticking to the red tires here and going for fast laps. JJ has had a pretty good run so far. Was as high up as 7th place, started in 17th. So another great run so far for JJ's 00.
Don't forget, next race for us is 2 weeks from now at Spa. I'll be at 8:20 p.m. start time. Me and Stevie here. Once again, we'll bring you the action for that race, but that is in 2 weeks. That is on March 19th. We get an off week next week, so everybody enjoy your off time. I know I will.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I'm sure everyone's going to enjoy the break here from really intense competition all throughout this season so far. It gives you a little bit of a breather here. And hey, for me, it gives me more time to work on my YouTube videos.
You can go ahead and pitch your channel. You got you're actually in terms of all the subscribers of the P1 channel, you have the most subscribers on your channel as compared to. So when someone subscribes to the channel, you can see how many subscribers they have. And so when you subscribe to P1, it actually, you have the most subscribers to your channel out of everybody and subscribe to P1.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, since we seem to have some time on our hands here, I run a YouTube channel called How We Get Around. It's long-form video essays are the name of the game, and it's about transportation, generally. Cars can be a factor of it as well, but I'm mostly talking about like public transportation, and particularly a longtime love of mine, trains. And I have a lot of stuff in the pipeline here. I got some interesting videos talking about transportation, not only like nationally, but also with a focus on my home city of Philadelphia. I've been a Philadelphia guy, born and raised pretty much. So yes, I am happy that Eagles won Super Bowl. I'm so happy, and we all love it here. So I have a lot of videos talking about like stuff locally around Philly, but also stuff around the northeastern U.S. and also the U.S. in general. So if you like talking about like interesting things regarding transportation and its past, present, and future, check out How We Get Around on YouTube. Right now I'm sitting at about just over 4,600 subscribers.
Nice.
And looking to make it 5,000 at some point. That would be fantastic.
Hey, P1 Broadcasting is excited to announce a brand new crown jewel level event for the iRacing IndyCar community. It's a 600-kilometer, 186-lap battle at Michigan International Speedway on June 7th, 2025. An all-star, invite-only roster of the IndyCar iRacing community will take the grid, competing for over $200 in prizes. Stay tuned for more details and entry applications. June 7th at Michigan will be a race to remember, and you might see some of the same names you see in today's lineup in that lineup as well. Waiting for final stops to occur for our leaders. It is Titus Sherlock, leader right now, currently second in the points. Tanner DeFabis, second on the racetrack, third in points. Caleb Benzie, third on the racetrack, your leader in points. But he is on a one-stop strategy. So does he race the guys in front of him, or does he just wait them out? And I think at this point, as long as that delta in front of him doesn't get too big, he just waits them out. But
yeah,
here's the other thing. They're going to be coming out on very fresh tires, and he's going to have very worn tires. Will they have time to run him down?
That's definitely a good question, especially with low fuel. The pole time, I should note, was a 1:05.7 set by Titus Sherlock. And right now, I'm looking at Caleb Benzie's lap times running 1:07.9. So if we're getting anywhere close to that, Sherlock and DeFabis are going to be going hard. They're going to be flying around here. And if the amount of laps left and the gap is in their favor, this could be a pretty close finish at the end of the day here. Definitely watch this space. It's far from decided at the moment.
All right, I'm expecting Tanner within the next lap or so. He went 22 last time. He's starting 23 right now.
Yep,
and we'll watch him.
Going for one more here, and Titus Sherlock getting around some lap traffic once more. That was, I believe that was Sebastian Gianni you just got around here. And pace-wise, the leaders are all running 1:07s. Benzie the slowest at a 1:07.8. Of course, he's driving to a fuel number. Kostik Solwich, I should note, behind in fourth place, just came on the pit road as well. So move Griffin Yellen up in the fourth for now.
Final stop for Kostik.
And he had to switch to the hard tires for this last stint here. He ran red first and second stints here, so he has to change to blacks. So this is going to be the slowest pace for Kostik pretty much the whole race here. So it's going to be hard to gain spots. It is still possible, of course, but Kostik getting to the end of the race here on hard tires. Caleb Benzie, though, will have to do that anyway, but on less fuel air. And I'm looking, DeFabis is coming in. Tanner is coming in, so second place now to Caleb Benzie.
Track temperature 109, ambient 78. It's gone up a little bit. Not a good time for those track temperatures to go up when you have very old tires out there. We now see DeFabis coming to pit road.
Down to his box, up on the jacks, and naturally the reds are going on. Small splash of fuel for the trouble, and down we go.
6.5 seconds. So he is, and also Griffin Yellen on pit road.
Yep, Griffin Yellen, another one of the Eclipse cars coming in. And I'm keeping an eye on Titus Sherlock. Gets around Matt Schlosser, who's running 15th at the moment. Will he come in this time? And yes, he does.
Yes, final scheduled stop.
Keep an eye on Benzie. The gap was 13 seconds on the last lap there. Benzie around the second to last corner, the Sachsen curve. Then final corner, down the front straight he comes. Titus Sherlock still on his way to his box. And there goes Benzie into the race lead. So Benzie will have a gap to work with.
We'll see what Logan Spath comes out here.
Indeed so. Spath off the final corner. Sherlock is down and away.
He's gonna beat him out. But
no. Sherlock is gonna stay ahead.
Sherlock's. That's what I said. Sherlock's gonna beat him out.
Yep, Sherlock's gonna beat him out there.
All right,
Spath
so Sherlock
is still ahead of DeFabis.
Sure. Oh, he's pushing hard already. He's in the dirty portion of the racetrack.
Oh, you do not want that here, especially with all the clank you've got there on the exit of the Omega. It's just so full of marbles. You do not want those, especially on your out lap.
That's going to cost. It actually cost him 2 seconds. He hit the racetrack at 14 seconds behind, and that slowdown by going wide cost him another 2 seconds. So now he's got to push every lap. I mean, he's got a 15-second gap to make up in 8 laps. Less than that now, because Caleb just took hit the line, and he has 7 to go.
Yeah, like for Titus, this has got to be qualifying lap after lap after lap after lap for him. He has got to nail this. It's a 16-second gap that he has to overcome here to Caleb Benzie, and no errors can be had at this point, and he has got to nail these laps.
I got to ask Caleb when this race is over, if he gets to the interview. I mean, how comfortable are you in the car knowing that the only gap you have is the gap that you managed to get by when you moved past him on the racetrack? Because after that, he's reeling you in every single inch of this racetrack for the next 8 laps until you get to that checkered flag. He's on the button right now. He's on push to pass.
Ah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Caleb power slides out of the final corner. Now down to 13 seconds for Sherlock.
Yeah, there's still time to be had here. 107.8 for Bensi last time around. Titus Sherlock, this is his first lap.
Ooh,
first
he
full
dips
lap
a
out of the
tire
pits,
a little bit.
very wide there. 106.3. It's down to 14.5.
And that's a purple lap. That is a purple lap.
Fastest lap of the race for Titus Sherlock right when he needs it. It's a big ask for sure.
And can DeFabus get to Spath? Spath is in third on the same strategy.
Yes, indeed. And Spath last time around was a 108 even. DeFabus purple, 105.9. That may not have counted, though, because there may have been an off track there somewhere. So that's why Sherlock is credited with the purple lap.
Yeah, he might have been, purple, but must have had an X somewhere.
Yeah, that's just how much on the ragged edge these guys are driving.
So we have on the tree gaps right now. So you see the number next to Sherlock when he comes off the push to pass button here. That's 12 seconds behind Bensi. Then you see Spath is 5 seconds behind Sherlock. Then the other key number is DeFabus, who's now 3.5 behind Spath with 5 to go. So DeFabus might actually get the Logan Spath.
It's definitely
Sherlock,
it's definitely
purple
looking
lap,
that way.
105.9, sorry.
And again, kick at the tail for DeFabus there. Big kick there, 106.1 as he's trying to catch up to Logan Spath. So both of the Eclipse cars in the front of the pack here, they are going at it. They are pushing with everything they've got. DeFabus to catch Spath, Sherlock to catch Bensi.
You see out the back of Spath's car looking over his attenuator.
That was Matt Schlosser going way wide into the kitty litter there.
Should see that blue car right there. I tried to circle him, but I missed. That is Tanner.
Yeah, like that's definitely gonna be getting closer and closer and closer as this race winds down here, and Schlosser now letting DeFabus go.
You're going to see him coming around the corner. There he is.
11.1 seconds.
Sherlock,
another
purple
105.
lap, 105.9. 10 seconds. 4 laps to go. Tanner only has 5 seconds left to push the pass. He's on it now, and he just used it up. So now he needs to pass.
Oh, big slide there. Tanner DeFabus drifting that thing through turn 1. That was not what he wanted, spectacular though it was. But you can tell DeFabus is really, really ringing this thing.
Wow. And that's just going to help out Logan a little bit, who now has an 2.2 second lead now over Tanner. But Tanner now, he's out of push to pass, so he needs to pass Logan the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, and Spath definitely has pushed the pass to work with. Of course, he's driving the same strategy that Bensi is. So push to defend, yeah.
And Titus Sherlock, 3 seconds left.
9.6, the gap between Bensi and Sherlock. 3 to go.
There you see 194 for Bensi, plenty. 2 for Sherlock, who effectively is out. 179 for Spath and Winchester for DeFabus. He is out.
Yep. He is still catching up, though. It was a 107 even versus a 107.8 for Spath, and that was with that Tokyo drift through turn 1.
Logan's trying to hold on.
So it's a big ask for both the Eclipse cars. Sherlock for the win, DeFabus for the podium. But DeFabus is catching up with Logan Spath.
Oh, Logan goes a little wide, gets into the dirt, but he keeps the momentum.
Oh, you gotta be so careful through there. I've seen several drivers tonight, like, sometimes you can run out wide there and it's okay, and then sometimes you're going for a not so fun ride here as they work their way around lap traffic.
Let's Bundal gets out of the way. 1 second lead now. 2 to go for the entire field. Now under a second.
Job again for DeFavis. You saw that. Big kick of the tail there. 106.8 versus 107.5. The battle has been joined. The gap to the lead, 8.4. 2 laps to go.
Okay, so here's the tire report. It's Spath on 25-lap primary tires. DeFavis on 7-lap alternate tires. And I got to imagine at 7 laps, their usefulness is pretty marginable at this point.
Yeah, because like before, you really did have to be careful with how you managed the soft tires at the start of this race. Less so here, and it's just go for it at this point. This is famous. Oh, goes way wide there. Bobbles it, but doesn't quite lose momentum. Still within shouting distance of Logan Spath, but that was hairy as Caleb Benzie starts the final lap of this race. 7.6 is the gap. Benzie's looking pretty comfortable as it stands. Spath, not so much.
He takes the white flag. Spath, one more circuit to go with Tanner DeFavis all over him for the bottom step of the podium. Caleb looks like he just needs to hit his marks. He needs to finish this portion of the track. He's out of the twisty portion now, downhill. Now he goes back uphill and onto the more speedier portion of the track. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That's all he has to face, and he is going to drive it home and get 3 wins in a row here in the middle of the season for a campaign now in full force for his second championship here in the Formula Indy Series. Here he comes, looking at the checkered flag on a one-stopper. Caleb Benzie with the win.
3 in a row for Caleb.
Now we get back to the story on hand. Is DeFavis going to be able to get Spath there through 12? Spath just needs to get through 13 up the hill and keep it clean and straight, and then not so much for DeFavis as Spath on a one-stopper brings home his car in third.
And you saw just how much DeFavis was trying there. That was a magnificent slide job there. I think DeFavis was a little bit frustrated just missing out on that podium. But DeFavis holds on for fourth. But Kostik Solwich, home race, comes home fifth. Griffin Yellen and Kevin Bonomi is going to be the last driver on the lead lap in 7th position.
And waiting for him to cross the start-finish line. There he is. And he completes the distance on the lead lap.
AJ Wang, Takeshi Kita, and Joey Selmans, your top 10 tonight. But Caleb Benzie, 3 in a row. And what a way to do it on strategy. Very well done for the Stowe crew.
7 seconds was the margin for Caleb. Titus Sherlock in second, Spath in third on the same strategy as the winner. DeFavis in fourth, Solwich in fifth, Yellen sixth, Bonimi seventh, JJ Wang in eighth, Kid in ninth, and Solmance. Good finish for Joey. I think that's maybe his first top 10 of the year. Congrats to him. Goyette, Labarge, Dakota, the maid there in 13th. Raval, your lead amateur in 14th. He's going to really extend his lead over his rival, Allen, who did not have a great day today. Looking to move on. Schlosser in 15th. Gianni, Watson, Miglin, Mundell, Johnston, your top 20. Cody in the Fish car in 21st. Gavin with the DC, unfortunately, in 22nd. Zach in 23rd. Costello, 24th. Ingrave, not with the good luck again in 25th. Ogden in 26th. Seifert, not the race he wants to remember. He finishes in 27th, and there is the The other rival in the amateur category, Allen, finishing 28th.
As we break out the schnapps and the champagne here tonight, let's see who will join us. I see Logan Spath already there, Titus Sherlock, and we're waiting on Caleb.
Need to queue up some replays. Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get into the interview. Logan, and talk to him first. And bring him up right now. Logan Spath, welcome to the bottom step of the podium, my friend. A one-stop strategy got you to the end, but, man, you really had to hold on there at the bitter end because Tanner, he had every advantage, but he just kind of ran out of time.
Yeah, thanks. I think with the way this track is, it's so difficult that he was coming up quick on those red tires with my fuel save number that I had to hit. Once you get really within that second range, with how slow and weird the first sector is, it really makes it super difficult to kind of get closer to that once you're within that second range.
When did you and your teammate make the decision that the one stopper was the way to go?
Probably about a minute left in practice. We weren't really thinking it was going to be possible. And then Caleb started kind of running with it in practice. And kind of was like, I think this is going to be possible. And it honestly had a lot more pace than we expected. I thought with how on throttle you are through the second and third sector, it was going to be a lot more difficult than it was to really keep the pace up with it. But honestly, it was a lot faster than I think either of us were ready for.
Go ahead, Stevie.
Yeah, it seemed like there were some opportunities for lift and coasting actually to save fuel and I think I saw Caleb do that a few times. I'm sure you did as well. But having that situation where you have a mad fast Tanner DeFabis trying to catch up here, and he was really driving it hard there, sliding it, like doing some like it looked more like an initial D run than an IndyCar race from Tanner DeFabis's perspective at some points there. That definitely was I'm sure that was a big pressure point for you going into the final stages.
Yeah, I think it's been a rough season overall, and it's definitely been something I've been trying to work on and taking into officials outside of this and really just focusing on trying not to make the mistakes. I typically fall to that pressure. So honestly, it was like I did 2 laps when I saw how fast he was coming. I kind of forgot about my fuel number a little bit and started just driving like normal and tried to just really reel that back in and know that lift and coast phase was ultimately helping me keep up my speed and not make mistakes over the course of that last stint.
Well, quite the exciting day for you at the front part of the race and then at the last part of the race, and then all the while trying to focus on hitting a fuel number to make it a one-stopper. Overall, I think you got to be pretty happy, everything that was thrown at you. So congratulations. Shout outs, friends, family, sponsors, anyone who want to say hi to before we let you go.
Yeah. Thank you, Gary and Steven in the booth. Always a great broadcast to watch back. It's definitely been a rough season from my perspective. So this is fantastic to finally put some good driving together on this later going into the halfway point of the season and hopefully lead a charge into the end. But yeah, I want to thank my grandparents for always tuning in and watching all these races. Hopefully they stuck it out there tonight for him. Thank my fiance for all the time she lets me put into this week at this track. Definitely put a bit more work into it than previously, but yeah, thank them too. Thank you guys again in the booth. It's always a great show that you guys put on.
Well, hey, we do our best, and glad that you guys put on a great show out there. So it's always easy to call the action when you guys do that. Congratulations on the P3. I know this is good momentum for the remainder of the season, not to mention an off week, so a little bit of a break. So then we'll see you at Spa with all the momentum here in a couple weeks.
Yeah, definitely. Spa's not my favorite track in the IndyCar, but also just shout out Caleb for, is that 3 in a row?
3 in a row.
Really, from how I started the season, he's putting the team on his back right now. So I'm glad to get up here with him for once. But he's been flying these past few races, so hopefully we can keep that going.
Congrats. We'll check you at the next one, buddy.
Yeah, thank you guys.
And we'll bring him. I don't know if the points have been updated yet. I just want to check real quick. Seasons. And yes, they have. And actually, we'll bring up the standings now. Caleb now has a 37-point lead over Titus. So we'll talk to Titus real quick. Sanders is still third. Tanner fourth. JJ in fifth. Logan moves up to sixth. He moves up one spot. He's 151 behind the leader, but he's only one spot behind, 1 point behind JJ for fifth. So that's going to probably help him. And JJ's been his craft has definitely improved as well. So that's going to be a good battle. We told you fifth spot was right around fifth spot is where the battle was still going to rage for the remainder of the drivers, and that's kind of where it's tightening up right now. We'll get into the next interview here. Titus Sherlock will bring him on up. And here he is. Titus, welcome to the program. Congratulations on the P2. I know you wanted the win, but first things first, how are you? We saw the video from this weekend. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm all good. Just a bit of pain in my left hip, but that's it. So, yeah, I wanted the win. Didn't even consider the one stop as an option, unfortunately. So, I thought we had it in the bag, but then yeah, after that first stint, we saw Caleb keep going. We were like,
uh-oh. Yeah. When I was getting that's my follow-up question. When did you know that he was going on the one stopper?
Yeah, just after that first pit stop when he went 3 laps longer than us. I mean, I feel like if I knew that he was going to do that, I could have, the first stint I wasn't pushing at all. I was just kind of saving the tires. So if I would have known he was going to do that, maybe it could have been closer at the end. I think he probably still would have gotten it anyway. But yeah, there's a mistake from our side not to even think about it really. And also starting on the reds in hindsight wasn't the greatest option either. I mean, everyone else did it, so it was the same. But I think the blacks would have been better. But yeah, a bit unfortunate to come home second after that.
Was there anything you could have done once you determined that he was going to do a one stopper and that it was probably going to work? Was there anything that you could have done to beat him in any way? Just push as hard as you can and kind of hope the numbers fall your way.
Yeah, pretty much. At that point, we couldn't pull off the one stop anymore because we just stopped too early. So we just had to commit to what we were doing and push as hard as we could. Yeah, the reds, once I got on them, I mean, 4 laps and they were gone pretty much. So it was tough, but got the gap down to 7 seconds, which actually is less than I thought it was going to be once I saw that they were doing it. Because in the first stint when he was fuel saving, he was maybe 3-4 tenths slower a lap, so it really wasn't even that much. So it was a pretty easy track to fuel save on, I guess. So should have considered that, but it is what it is.
Go ahead, Stevie.
Yeah, and that really says to me, like, obviously the IndyCar community isn't too familiar with the SACHSENRING, and it seemed like a pretty fun track when you really got the chance to learn it here. But the learning curve here definitely caught some people out here. What do you think was the did you think you had fun learning the place, or do you think there was what do you think was the most challenging part?
It's for sure the first sector. The first sector, like every corner is a corner that I feel like I've never done before. So it was just kind of learning that. And the pretty much the second half of the lap was pretty standard. But yeah, that first sector is really tricky to get right. And it wasn't my favorite, I'll say, compared to other tracks we go to. But it's always fun, learning a new track and learning what the right strategy is there and how to get around there quickly. So that side of it's fun. But in general, it's not my favorite, I guess I could say.
Well,
Ah.
you're still second in points, 37 behind Caleb. We still have some time to go. We have an off week, so we have the time to rest before we go to Spa. So still plenty of miles still to go to decide this championship. Do you have any shout-outs, any friends, any family, sponsors you want to say hi to before we let you go?
Yeah, like you said, plenty of time to catch up in points. Unfortunately, had to miss Laguna, and then I actually was already in St. Petersburg for the Milwaukee round, but I found a sim to use, so I wasn't even planning on racing that one. So
Oh,
that
perfect.
was, yeah, gotta save some points there. And then yeah, just like to thank the whole Eclipse team. Tanner was really fast as well, so was Griffin, and yeah, had a good weekend or a good race for us. So thanks to all the guys there and all the partners that are on the car that support us in real life. Mosaic, ProGuard, Destination Athlete, everyone else. Thank you.
Well, we're glad you're feeling well after that incident for real this weekend, and good to see you doing well here in the race P2 today at SACHSENRING. Congrats, and enjoy the week off, heal up, and we'll catch you at the next one.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, and now let's bring up Caleb Bensey, and here he is. Caleb Bensey, 3 wins in a row, and not just on road courses. I mean, we're showing versatility out there, road courses and ovals, and on a one-stopper, no less. We talked to your teammate about when the decision was made to do the one-stopper kind of late in the process, and it paid off big. Talk about your run out there. When did you know that you pretty much had this in the bag? So there are points where you didn't really need to run down the guys in front of you because you knew they were going to stop.
Yeah, I didn't really know on that front, but yeah, to your point, we decided very late to switch because I don't know, we weren't really paying attention, I guess, too much to it being a possibility. And after a qualifying run, just happened to look at the fuel on a full tank, what iRacing said you could go, and it was like 25.6 or something like that. I'm like, oh, you could definitely, squeeze an extra lap and a half out of that. So yeah, calculate a bit of the fuel numbers, keep track of on the steering wheel, and started off in map 2 and just was, doing the standard fuel saving techniques and stuff. But eventually going to map 3, it made it pretty easy, and I feel like the pace was still pretty good. The 2 Eclipse guys in front weren't pulling away too much, so that was why I was a little uncertain if they were saving or not, because I figured the pace would be a little bit better. But in a way, when saving, especially on those reds, you were able to keep them under control, keep the tire temps down and stuff. So it might have honestly been a good tire strategy too to fuel save, because it definitely made you be a little bit more conservative and safe on the tire. So yeah, ultimately when I saw them pit and everything, it kind of knew from there, as long as I just hit my marks and try to hit the fuel numbers and don't do anything stupid, I was pretty confident it was all going to work out. Thankfully,
Easier said than done sometimes.
Exactly, especially on a track like this. It was not easy.
Go ahead, Stevie.
Yeah, because we were just talking to Titus saying about the difficulties of learning a new track like this one, especially like how unusual it is. Both like we've pretty much never driven this in the IndyCar community, and it's a very challenging circuit. It seemed like you took to it pretty well, though. But what was it like? What was it like from your end trying to figure this place out?
Yeah, in terms of learning, it was a really big struggle, just because there's so many blind corners, kind of weird pieced together corners, like back to back to back, how you set up each one. So it definitely took a lot of trial and error and figuring out what the optimal line is through some of that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, some people weren't a huge fan, some people liked it, but I was definitely I definitely in the fan of it boat, I guess. But yeah, even the first sector was a little clumsy, I feel like is the best way to describe it. But even then, once you get into a rhythm and kind of find the limit, get more comfortable hanging the car out a little bit through that section, and I feel like you could find rotation if you wanted it. And basically from there on out, that downhill left was pretty sketchy. All the fast stuff was pretty sketchy. So I love it because it's requires a lot more commitment and having confidence, I guess, to hang the car a little bit more on the edge, which is what I really love. So I guess in a way, didn't really get to fully exploit that when it came to the races with the fuel save a bit. But I think the misconception a little bit with fuel save is that you're not pushing when you're fuel saving, but you're not really pushing into the braking zones. From mid corner to exit, you're still pushing very, very hard to keep that minimum speed up and not lose too much time. So yeah, ultimately, I guess it all worked out. That's pretty awesome to have 3 in a row, based on how the start of the season was going. Wasn't looking too great. So it's been a nice turnaround for sure.
Now we're getting that point in the season. You did extend your points lead over everybody, really. I mean, you won the race, and then you extended over who you needed to extend it. Gavin, unfortunately, had an equipment failure with the DC.
Yep.
Titus finished behind you, so you extended your lead now to 37 over him, 92 over Gavin. You got a week off, and then we get into the stretch run for this thing. Are you ready?
I am. Yeah, like I think I said last week, not a huge fan of Spa, so we'll see how that goes.
What?
Yeah, see, I'm just one of those. Maybe it's just the IndyCar. I think the IndyCar is great on any track you put it on, genuinely. But I think Spa might be the one track it isn't. I don't know. It just has a weird feel to me. It just never feels like the car's really in the track, and I don't know.
Yeah.
It's different.
This is like Spa's like one of my favorite tracks in anything.
Oh,
but
sorry to say that. Then.
Yeah.
How insulting,
Come
gosh.
But the rest of it, yeah, the other three I'm very much looking forward to. So, yeah, I mean, hopefully Spa will still go well. I think pace will still be okay. But yeah, I mean, as long as you just keep doing what we're doing and not putting a foot wrong or not making stupid mistakes to take you out of good points paying positions, I guess is really the main thing at this point. So, yeah, just gotta keep putting everything together and hopefully can, who knows, maybe 4 or 5 if everything works out the way it's been going recently. But yeah, just thankful to be able to put some of these together finally and get a top step.
Shout outs, friends, family, sponsors.
Yeah, first of all, huge shout out to Logan. He definitely puts in a lot of time and effort and has, as we've talked before, is just continually getting better and better. And I know he gets frustrated at times comparing, to me or Gavin or the Eclipse guys or whatever, but he's always just right there. And when things go together and come together, he's got really, really good pace and good racecraft. But yeah, so huge shout out to him. Awesome night for the team. And yeah, thanks to you guys as always for the broadcast. Amigos Takira, Joey Selman's Motorsports Art. Yeah, the usual suspects. But thanks to everyone for the support. I'm glad we can get 3 in a row. Hopefully we can keep this momentum going for sure.
All right. Well, 3 in a row. Congratulations. Enjoy the week off, and then we'll start the stretch run here in earnest when we get to Spa in 2 weeks.
Yep, sounds good. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. And there we go. Okay. So I'm just I want to get these the podium drivers here. Their stat lines, career-wise, what we're looking at now. Caleb now on his 69th start. Everyone can go at home and say nice. 10th, that's his 10th win today. So he is moving up into, I believe, getting closer into the all-time wins category. I think Mitch Welker is still the overall leader there, but it's getting tighter. He is one of now 3 drivers now, I think, in league history to get 10 wins. So good for him. 48 top 5s and 56 top 10s. Logan Spath, today was his 50th start. So not a bad way to top off your 50th start by getting a podium. 8 top 5s, 16 top 10s. Titus Sherlock, 11 starts here with 3 wins this season, 7 top 5s and 9 top 10s. So those are their stat lines. If I remove everybody else here and we talk about all-time wins, that is Welker with 17, and now Caleb is tied Gavin, second all-time. So only 3 drivers in league history have 10 wins. It's Mitch Welker, our defending series champion, who's not participating this season. Caleb Bency, champion 2 seasons ago, looking for his 2nd championship this season. And our inaugural champion way back in season 1, Gavin Sanders, he has 10. Those are the 3 that have that lead in the wins category. Stevie, you talked about this coming in today. You were kind of excited about this race. We haven't seen this track. It's always good to be at a track we've never seen before. And did it deliver? Did it not deliver? But you to answer me that. But also, I will say, though, the one-stop strategy and the drama at the end to see if Logan could hang on was a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, exactly. And this really, it really made for some interesting racing all throughout the night, all throughout the field, and some interesting strategies, as we all well know. And it really does show how flexible the IndyCar could be. Like, it can race on almost any kind of circuit, and it can put on a great show. And we're gonna see that more that next week in about 2 weeks' time at Spa. So I think next time out, it's gonna be just as fun.
Now, time's going to fly, and it's going to seem like next week. That's what's going to happen.
much.
Yeah, so. So that's it for tonight. Once again, your podium from SACHSENRING for the Tammie Mathis Memorial Grand Prix. Caleb Benzie getting 3 in a row. Your winner today over Titus Sherlock and Logan Spath, the teammate of Caleb Benzie, also participating in that one-stop strategy. He comes home third. That is your podium. Join us again in 2 weeks for round 9 of the Formula Indy Series Championship as we head to Spa for the 3rd time in league history, but with a new twist. The series will use the bike course. A little something new to spice up the stretch run at the end of the season. Remember, due to change in time and, and the change in the support series schedule for the remainder of the season, regardless of the time change we got coming up, all of our races will begin at 8:20 Eastern time. So everything between now and the end of the season, 8:20. You can count on it. But for the most up-to-date broadcast time in your area, make sure to check out our YouTube channel at youtube.com/@P1 Broadcasting for the correct start time in your area. Now, as you know, the YouTube algorithm game is not easy, so please help support P1 with the weekly grind. Leave a comment below to let us know your thought of tonight's race. If you enjoyed tonight's coverage, support us by smashing like in the video. If you're new, and we know there's a lot of you out there, because analytics say about 40% of you watch this thing and don't subscribe. Come on, man. Subscribe. It's free. It doesn't cost you a thing, and it does our channel a world of good. If you could subscribe, we would appreciate it. So please support P1 with the weekly grind. Also, leave a comment below. Let us know your thought of tonight's race. If you enjoyed the coverage, make sure you always tell us what you're thinking, because you can add to that algorithm. And, of course, subscribe, and while you're at it, hit the bell for a weekly reminder. So I'm missing on more P1's other iRacing programming, including the start of, we started the 2025 IndyCar iRacing Series. You're going to catch the next race when we have Thermal Weekend. We will be at Fontana for a 300-mile there. It's 1 p.m. on Saturdays. You won't want to miss it. Tomorrow night on the docket, and I should mention that as well, Mark Murphy will be calling the action with the AMA, their Xfinity of their Grand National Series, as they kick off their Las Vegas weekend. They will kick off at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. It's actually 8:20 p.m. Eastern Time on Thursday, and also on Friday, their Truck Series will also be at Las Vegas. You won't want to miss it for those broadcasts. That's the AMA, and that's Mark Murphy and Sam Crow bringing you the action for that one. Track cams for this race are provided by Whiplash Sim Cams. Well, not quite. They didn't quite have the cams ready for us today, so we had to improvise, but they're going to get us cams in the future. But everything else we use is by Whiplash Sim Cams. Get the most out of your iRacing experience with Whiplash Sim Cams. To learn more, like Whiplash on Facebook or follow them on Instagram and X. All the links you need are in the description. For business inquiries to learn more about P1 and what we do, like us on Facebook, follow us on X and Instagram. You can follow all of our social links on Linktree as well. Check them in the description. So for Stephen Larkamp, everyone here at the FIS and P1, I'm Gary Gonzo, the voice of the FIS, saying to all good night and thanks for watching. And to all of our men and women serving in the military and as first responders, Godspeed, God bless, and come home safe. Catch us again right here in 2 weeks when we continue our regular new start time of 8:20 p.m. Eastern Time at Spa for the next race of the Formula Indy Series on P1. Good night.